It's Beefy time, y'all. What's good, everybody? It's gonna be episode number 14. We're gonna do Beefy Boys breakdown number 14 over UFC Vegas 9. Last night's fight night card on ESPN Plus. My Beefy brother will join me here in a second. This is gonna be a good one. It was a strange card. And we'll get into why it was a strange card. And there's Beefy Boy himself. Let me get him on here.
Hey, what up?
What up, Brody? How you doing, man? I feel like this is gonna be some
Good.
no ceilings right now. You hear that lighter flick, and I'm coming with the heat.
I'm saying, I'll give you one of those to go with it. We'll get our own little track produced.
There you go. I thought I fucking had a leftover claw. Like I always have like one or two claws like in the back of the fridge that I bust out for the podcast. And apparently I got a little overzealous last night during the fight.
Literally, my only one is this one. So I have a backup, time of Corona. Thought I'd
Nice.
support it.
Yeah, there you go, man. Can you believe that people are so goddamn stupid that like Corona's sales are down?
Dude, it's shocking. And actually, you know what I was thinking about Corona is they haven't marketed this well. Like they could have marketed way
Oh,
better
the
throughout the
commercials could have
entirety.
been fire, but they probably would have like, too many people probably would have got butthurt. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah. The PC.
2020, dog. Them
Yeah,
PC babies.
that's true. That's a good point. That's a good point.
They'll come for
But
you, man.
honestly, this is like a theme of the fight card, man. We only got 7 fights because Corona.
Yeah,
It's
man.
COVID's out there ripping fighters from us.
I don't want to say first time ever because there may have, back in the Wild West days of the UFC, who knows what went down. But
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
first time, in my like adult viewing life that there was just one card. Like it wasn't separated into
Yeah,
prelims and main cards because 2 fights got canceled, right? So it was going to be like a 3-fight main card if they did it that way or some shit.
right. Yeah,
So
that's exactly right. And then they moved one of the guys from Kelleher's fight up, right? Isn't that right?
that's
Or
right.
where he got his opponent scratched, so they had to pull Ray Rodriguez down. It was one of those two.
Something like that. Okay. Yeah, man. So this was probably the most like affected by COVID card yet.
Oh, by far.
Every
By
other
far.
card has just had one fight called
Yeah.
scratched from it. So I think this was the first card with like 2 fights scratched. So I guess that's worth noting.
Yeah, honestly, the fights that were still there were really good.
Yeah, I
I
enjoyed
thought
the
the card
card.
was great. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed the card, and I guess we can go ahead and kick it off with Cole Smith and Hunter Azure.
yeah. Hunter Azura is a ex-wrestler. This is like his third fight in the UFC. He actually fought Kelleher last. His last fight got KO'd, but it was a really like great back and forth fight where they were trading all these shots.
And then, as we'll
Um,
see later in the card, Gallagher's no slouch.
yeah,
So,
not a
yeah,
slouch by any means.
I
And
thought it was
then
really dope how Azure was repping his Sioux flag in his corner.
yeah,
Being native and everything. I don't know. I really respect that, and I thought it was dope. I wanted to shout that out.
yeah. Well, and he ended up being like a pretty dope fighter actually. Both these guys were cool. I thought both these guys had cool skill sets. Neither one was like blowing me away with it, but you could
Yeah,
tell Azure wanted to grapple a little more. But Cole
yeah.
Smith was pretty good in the grappling exchange, I thought, for going against a guy that used to be an ex-wrestler.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. They were saying that like Azor was mainly like a badass wrestler, but in his past couple of losses, he kind of got caught up in like the striking game.
Right.
So like I think that's why he was making a good point to emphasize the grappling and the takedowns and his wrestling, which is his skill set. But for sure, man, yeah, these guys, it was a bantamweight bout at 135. And then round one, I gave to Azor because of the big knockdown.
Yeah. That two-piece, that nice, what was it, a left-right or right-left?
I forget which order, but yeah, it was it was one or the other, but it landed clean and it put Smith down, like which was I don't know. First round knockdowns are always like, you're like, oh shit, how old boy might be in trouble. Like, but to his credit, he recovered really well from that.
No, he survived super well. I actually have that in my notes right here that I was surprised with how well he did survive the rest of that round.
Yeah, definitely. But it led me because it was Smith's debut, right? Or no? Or
Yeah. Cole
Yeah.
Smith's debut
So,
and
so
Hunter Azur's third fight.
anytime a guy's in his debut and he gets, knocked down in the first couple of minutes, you're just like, you're not thinking it's gonna go his way. You know what I mean? Which it
Yeah,
ultimately didn't go his way, but he bounced back pretty nice. Round two, I gave to Azor too. I mean, he took his back multiple times in that round.
yeah.
He didn't seem to do much with it, but there was without a doubt he controlled that round. Like
It, yeah, yeah.
nobody
So
would give
actually,
that round to Smith. I don't feel like.
no, I was. That's what I wrote too. Is that he controlled most of the second, but it wasn't like his dominant as far as damage.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And then round three, I actually gave to Smith. Did you give it to Smith as well?
Yeah. My final notes are Azur's gassing with 2 minutes to go. When there were 2 minutes left, he was done.
No,
He was done, man.
He was
Like he
done.
trained for a 13-minute fight.
Yeah, and I mean, good. Thankfully for him, I mean, he had done enough in those 13 minutes. But it did result in him losing that third round. But he won the
Right.
first two rounds. So definitive. There was like zero controversy to this one. I scored it the same. All three judges scored it the same, and I scored
We
it
scored it
the
the
same
same.
as them. Yeah, 29-28 across the board. I mean,
Yeah.
that it's one of the rare fights where the scorecard actually does the fight like perfect justice, like that.
And I don't think you could score it any other way.
Yeah,
Like I think those were so clear in each round by whatever facet they happened. The third might have been a little shaky, but just to see Azure essentially giving up in the last 2 minutes and Smith just dominating the last 2 minutes, it's like, all right, well, Smith wins this round.
Yeah, and I think Azor would even probably admit to that because I think that was like honestly his strategy. He was like, it's in the bag, like you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he just went in survival mode,
Yeah,
which is
totally.
sometimes a scary thing to do.
Oh, it can bite you in the ass big time. We've seen it happen for sure. But yeah, I mean, Azure gets the win. He gets back in the win column. I think he was on a 2-fight skid, so he gets to stick around a little longer.
And who knows how much longer the UFC keeps him if he goes 0-3. I mean, he might be getting cut.
Oh, I think it's probably safe to say because I think his last one was a knockout. So if you
Right,
factor that,
Kelleher, yeah.
So yeah, I think he was fighting for his UFC career, and I think he lived to see another day, and good on him. Hopefully he leans on that wrestling, moving forward.
I was gonna say he needs to keep grappling.
He does. He definitely does. And then Cole Smith, I mean, definitely not the worst debut. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him, another shot against somebody. I mean, he definitely showed he's tough. He definitely had cardio for days. He wasn't tired.
Yeah.
He had the chin. I mean, he wasn't overwhelming. I mean, I don't know. He seemed to think his kicks were more dangerous than they actually were. He threw a lot of them. I don't know if any of them landed. Like,
the
he would
most,
throw a kick
dude.
from
The
like
most
12 feet
kicks.
away. Like dog. It's not like.
I wonder if he just had like a crazy leg reach advantage he was like reading into or some weird shit like that.
He was the taller fighter. So maybe. But yeah, man, we'll keep it pushing. This next fight, I got to give a caveat. So California's in like a heat wave right now, and the house I'm in doesn't have AC, but my uncle's house does. And right after the first fight, he texted me like, "Yo, you trying to come eat dinner in the AC?" And I was like, "Bet." So I partially kind of missed some of this fight. I was like had it on my phone, but I was like as I was walking in the house and everybody was saying hi and all that shit. So I'll kind of let you take the lead on this fight. I did watch it, but just want to kind of give a caveat so I don't seem too dumb.
Yeah, no. It was 125. It's number 11, Montana De La Rosa versus number 8, Vivian Araujo or Araujo. I don't know. Those Brazilian names actually throw me off.
So this isn't how she pronounced it, but there's a bomb-ass Mexican restaurant in San Jose called Araujo's, and it's spelled the same way she spells it. So I kept saying Araujo, but I don't think that's how she pronounces it like in Brazilian, but I don't know. Shout out to Araujo. It's the best goddamn pastor in the South Bay. I'll shout it out.
I think, oddly enough, hers is Araujo. But
yeah, because they pronounce those J's like but whatever. Araujo, whatever. Montana De La Rosa, flyweight 125. And yeah, like you said, a pretty high-ranking matchup, 8 versus 11.
Yeah, I was surprised, too, whenever they came out. And the Brazilian girl, Viviane, was honestly more crisp in the striking. I always expect the Brazilians to just and this is I mean, it's wrong of me to expect that, but like I just genuinely expect them to have better grappling or want to be grappling. So the first round, I actually thought that Vivian Araujo won.
Really?
Yeah, she actually landed, I thought, more consistently with an overhand right that she almost always masked but landed. And then De La Rosa just was wearing the damage a lot
She
more too, man.
was. Oh
Which was
my
like
God.
because if you looked at the strike numbers, they were damn near even at the end of
Yep.
the fight.
Yep. Yeah. But just it's one of those eye test fights, right? Like
Yeah.
the exact opposite of the last card. How he said the scorecard, told the story of the Azor Smith fight. Like their faces told the story of this fight.
Yeah.
I think
Seriously though.
and sometimes that can be an oversimplification, like with a guy like Nate Diaz that bleeds easily, and we've talked about that before on the podcast. But in this fight, I think it was actually like their faces literally were the scorecards.
Yeah, and De La Rosa doesn't have a ton of fights, so I can't imagine that she has crazy amounts of scar tissue like a Diaz brother, you know?
Yeah.
So in that aspect, like I think Viviane was just landing with more power. You know, I think
So
they
did
landed
you
close
give
to the same.
Viviane all 3 rounds? Because I'll be real, I gave round 1 to De La Rosa, but like I said, with that caveat of like I was like in the car and like using my phone as the GPS, and it was a shit show. So like I didn't get to watch it that closely, but just kind of I think I looked at the strike numbers, which is why I gave it to De La Rosa. And I
So
think, but yeah, go ahead and I just
so
wanted to,
I gave the first to Araujo, but I think I gave the second to De La Rosa,
really,
to be
okay.
honest. Yeah, because actually I didn't give any to De La Rosa. I scored it. My final sentence is I scored it 30-27, but a 29-28 wouldn't surprise me.
And that's exactly what the judges did. 2 judges ended up having 30-27, and 1 judge had it 29-28. So, yeah, one of the judges gave one of the first 2 rounds to De La Rosa, but it was honestly so close. I don't know which one it was.
I think it was the second.
Second?
I think it was the second. Yeah, because my notes right there say a very competitive second round.
Okay.
But
all right, cool.
I just scored for damage, right? Like
Yeah.
literally what we were talking about with like their faces. Like at the
Yeah.
end of the second, I was like, "Who is way more beat up?"
Yeah,
And that's right.
By the end of the second, De La Rosa, I mean, was where I mean, she was bloodied up, like it was
Right.
weird, like, but like you said, if you just looked at the box score or whatever, the strike numbers, they were pretty close, but just De La Rosa was just a whole face covered in blood, straight leaking.
Yeah, just like leaking. It was like, dang, what happened?
And like I want to say De La Rosa's like movement and like striking, like the crispness of her striking looked good, but yeah, it was just like her anti-chin just betrayed her.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Just like that's the weirdest thing to me is that the compy strike numbers are kind of lean to the side of De La Rosa. Like she landed more leg kicks,
Yeah.
but her legs look more torn up. She landed more headshots, but her face was way more torn up.
Exactly.
I just didn't understand it.
Which is what makes scoring these fights interesting. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
why it's so nuanced and like they're
Oh yeah.
as flawed as the scoring system is, it would be damn near impossible to come up with a perfect scoring system because of, like you said, if we did have some kind of super strict scoring system, De La Rosa could have potentially won this fight that she didn't deserve to win.
Right, yeah. If you scored it based on just strikes landed, then De La Rosa would probably win this fight.
And that would have been a travesty because like she didn't win the fight. Araujo ended up winning the unanimous decision. Like I said, the judges were kind of on line with me and Harrison. 2 of them was 30-27, and then one of them gave De La Rosa one of the second round for a 29-28. But I mean, you got to think. I mean, I don't know. You think Araujo gets a top 5 next, or what? I mean, it's hard to say.
You know what's whack? You know what's whack? Did you see her post-fight interview?
Go ahead and drop it on me.
So Anik asks her, he's like, "Hey, great performance. You just beat a ranked opponent. They're pretty much trying to, give you that test, see where you move from here. So are you thinking top 5 next? Who do you want?" She just is just so happy that she won the fight. She can't even think. Like she just it's just great to be back and to get a win. And it's like, no, this was your chance. Like he just set you up for a top 5 call.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's like, in a way, you kind of love how pure that is. But just from a business, matchmaking, just promotion point
And
of view.
selling the fight, like in her own best interest.
In her own best interest, exactly, because it's not like we're wanting it for the UFC's best interest. Like that's in her best interest.
It's her opportunity to get something for herself.
Like she should have definitely called out number 5. Like I don't even know who number 5 in flyweight is right now, but whoever that person is, she should have called her out if she didn't have a fight schedule or something. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, she definitely like missed that opportunity for sure.
Your girl Lipsky was tweeting about this fight.
Oh yeah,
Queen of Violence.
Queen of Violence. I was about to say Queen of
Yeah.
Violence. Yeah. She's in that weight class, right?
Yeah.
Was she saying that like she wanted to smoke, or what was she saying?
She was saying she liked the fight between them and that there was some nice strikes being landed. So I mean, she wasn't ranked. Lipsky wasn't, I don't think, in her last fight.
No, not in her last fight. I wonder if she's moved up since, though. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, because like her versus De La Rosa might be a nice fight. And I think she would tear De La Rosa up, no offense.
Especially just because of her face. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Queen of Violence mixed with old Easy Bleeder McGee.
With paper face.
Yeah, exactly. That makes for an interesting matchup for sure. But yeah, we'll keep it pushing on this mini card here. Brian Kelleher versus Ray Rodriguez, which we had just touched on. Kelleher had knocked out Azur, who we saw earlier on the card, in their last fight. So he was coming off that knockout victory, and he ends this fight with another finish.
Yeah, although in a very different facet.
Yeah.
Rodriguez, apparently is known for being a guy that finishes fights as well, doesn't let a lot get to the judges.
He was a pretty big underdog, plus 255, Rodriguez. I think he took it on short notice.
Yeah. Well, they got that opponent switch up due to the COVID issues.
That's right.
So they had to just put these two together because they were like, well, you both don't have an opponent. Like, you guys want to fight each other.
Happened? They were supposed to fight other people in both. Okay, word. I hadn't had it, like, explained.
Yeah, they were. So both their opponents got dropped out, and then the UFC was like, well, you both weigh 145. You just want to fight each other.
I like that.
Don't move.
Yeah, I like that on all parties. I like that on Dana's side, just like finding a way to make it happen, making chicken salad out of chicken shit.
And Kelleher and Rodriguez for being down.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. So kudos to all. Everybody made weight. I don't think anybody missed weight this whole card. So that was cool. We don't have to.
Yeah, love to see that. Don't have to complain about a guy being fucking undisciplined, which I hate.
Yeah, exactly. It really fucks it up.
So, yeah, Rodriguez just takes a bad shot, and loser has to retire forever. Well, hopefully Lesnar retires forever then, because I still like Overeem. We'll get to that. He looked all right.
Do you see Chael Sonnen go in on Lesnar? I loved it. I loved it. That was great. That was great.
So, yeah, Rodriguez takes a bad shot on Kelleher, and honestly just gets wrapped up in a guillotine that gets sunk in real tight, gets caught.
He
no options.
His whole body to sink it into, like,
yeah.
And he ended up getting performance of the night. It was weird. I want to say, and I don't know if it was because of the no prelims or just Dana thought nobody deserved it. There was no fight of the night, but there was 4 performance of the night bonuses. So there was no fight of the night. They didn't do fight of the night, but Kelleher
probably didn't think anyone deserved fight of the night as far as like going back and forth. Although you could say Overeem and Sakai.
You came back goddamn, and it's a 97 fight. Like, I don't know. I was going to get into that, but I guess I will now. I was like, there was a clear-cut fight of the night. Like, what do you mean? You're going to give Dellinger the fucking performance bonus for his easy-ass sub that he was favored to get? And then, fucking, I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure Overeem got, especially after watching that video that Cormier posted.
Overeem gets paid.
Overeem got broken off with the duffel bag. For those that don't know what we're talking about, Cormier was talking with Ariel on one of their shows. They have like 8 different podcasts together. They were talking how Cormier was talking about how the fighter that everybody talks about fighter pay, and we've talked about fighter pay here on the podcast before. And
honestly, a big issue that we've like approached, but
the official numbers are dog shit, and like some fighters do get hosed. I'm sure not everybody's getting the Dana White duffel.
Some guys don't get hosed. Like Conor gets $5 million on paper a fight.
Yeah, and so. But Cormier was talking about how, like, on paper he got paid like $80,000 for the fight, but then like backstage Dana White gave him $1 million. Like,
Yeah, him
so
and Lorenzo Fertitta cut him a check for $1 million 2 days later.
yeah, so it's like I have a strong hunch that Overeem got something broken off just as a thank you. I would like.
Yeah.
He's been real. He's fought twice this year, twice during Corona. He's
Well,
been on Beefy Boys twice.
What's his and he's won twice too, right? Beat
Yeah,
Walt Harrison's last
totally.
one.
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
his?
yeah.
And he came back from the brink in that fight too.
Oh yeah.
And he's looking a little fat now. I like that. He's a little beefier.
Yeah, yeah.
What's
definitely.
his? Do you know what his base pay is? Because it's got to be a lot, dude. It's got to be a lot. He's a former champion. He's been in the UFC for so long. He's built the brand with him, and he has so many professional fights. He's ranked number 5. He's a heavyweight. Like, he has to be getting probably $100,000 to show, $100,000 to win.
You would hope so. It's hard to say. But like I said, just regardless, the video Cormier posted about getting, the under the table break off just makes me feel a little better. And I like to think that he probably got a nice little handshake. You know what I'm saying?
Well, but I wonder too do you think that still happens now, because it's WME now. It's not the Fertittas that own it, so it's a little less personal.
I sure hope so, man. I sure hope so. I mean, I feel like UFC's only grown since then. So
yeah,
but they also probably have less money because of no gates. But they're also putting on more shows. It's hard to say, man. They got that ESPN deal. Who knows how all that shakes out?
The ESPN deal is crazy too.
That's
You know
what I'm saying? I'm not
UFC,
a fucking accountant. Not Beefy Boys accountant.
They don't release a lot of their finances, you know what I mean?
No.
Or a lot of it's under the table too. So
I think doesn't Dana look like the kind of guy who likes to do some shit under the table? I feel like, I don't know.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's not, you know what I'm saying, putting everything on the old book. But who knows? Who knows? I would never, allegedly, you know what I'm saying? I would never accuse Dana White, fine citizen, of doing anything afoul. But yeah, man, keep it pushing. This next fight, Andre Muniz and Jesus Christ, Bartosz Fabinski.
Bartosz Fabinski.
The Butcher.
Yeah.
Like, I like it because of, like, the Eastern European last name, too. Like, the Butcher goes well with that. Like, if his name was, like,
Cook
David
or
Johnson or something. I wouldn't give a shit. Like, the Butcher.
Coleman.
It's generic. But you combine the Butcher with, like, the whole...
Bartosz the Butcher Fabinski, like,
it's a Slavic or whatever the fuck. Like, I don't know. It works. I like it. I
was a fan.
But a very, very close odds. It was essentially a toss-up. I think Muniz was plus 130, but I mean, that's nothing.
And minus 150 on the other side. There was honestly, the next two fights were closer in odds because the next two fights were literally toss-ups. But this one was almost as close in odds as you can get for a fight. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Essentially, this is Vegas saying, like, we think this guy will win, but it's really either guy.
Yeah, no, exactly. And man, did Muniz have some high-level jiu-jitsu. It was
man.
Another first-round sub, so it was back-to-back first-round subs. So I was like, thanks, I get like 30 more minutes of promo. Shoot me, but you gotta appreciate the quick work. You know what I'm saying? What I respected about it, because it was a first round, or what he ended up getting the arm bar, but.
Yeah.
He started off trying to go. He was in the guard, right? And then he tried to go for like the guillotine, but couldn't get it under the chin. But then somehow made this crazy transition to the armbar. I don't know exactly. He was going for one submission or some kind of choke, and then he switched like last minute to the armbar. It was really impressive to watch. I'm sure people better at jiu-jitsu than me can break it down better. But like he was going for one sub, and then just pivoted, called an audible, and switched to that armbar. It was really beautiful to watch.
Yeah, so he was going for a triangle choke. Had his legs up, and Fabinski, starts to post his arms down to try and slip out of it.
That's right.
And as soon as he posted his arm, he just transitioned, swiveled his hips, and got the arm pinned on the other side. Great armbar. I mean, it was great. It was just great jiu-jitsu,
Yeah, no, it was gorgeous. Like, it looked like they were like rolling in geese, but it was a real UFC fight with the threat of getting punched in the face.
Well, and honestly, he caught him really early too. They're not really that sweaty that early. You know what I'm saying? They haven't been going, so that's probably the best time to catch him like that, like in an actual catch armbar.
And then Muniz got one of the performance of the night bonuses as well.
Yeah, see, that was a submission where I'm like, you deserve it. That was such a skillful submission, and he got taken down to his back, so it was a defensive submission at that.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because Fabinski got the takedown, but then, I mean, much to his demise, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, Muniz was lethal from the guard. And, yeah, I mean, so they were middleweights, so I don't think we mentioned that. This was a 185 fight.
Love middleweights.
Yeah, we love the middleweights. And he's an interesting one because I feel like a lot of these middleweights are these, like, athletic strikers. And, I mean, of course, there's some wrestlers, too, but I don't know, like, just a dangerous from the back, high-level jiu-jitsu guy, you know, that's just kind of interesting, kind of different than I feel like the typical, you know, middleweight that's usually probably going for the knockout.
Yeah, not a lot of, like, high-level submission guys there at 185.
He kind of fights like a smaller guy, but he's got the size of a 185er. You know
it seems like 185 is kind of that breaking point where the power comes over the edge, and it's like
exactly
when you're in guard, you still might get put to sleep by a punch down the middle. So it's like you got to be super careful.
Yeah, and be super skilled, which Muniz is, which, like I said, for all those reasons you just listed, I don't see him making some, like, wild ascension or just, you know, burning through the division or anything like that. But, I mean, at the same time, you can never shut the door on those jiu-jitsu guys because at any given moment, you know what I'm saying? They don't have a bad position in the fight. Like you said, he got taken down and then instantly won the fight off 2 different sub attempts, and the second one landed. And so, I don't know. It's like I said, I don't feel comfortable just, like, making a prediction of, like, an ascension. But like I said, you can just never count those high-level jiu-jitsu guys out. You just can't.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is we'll just have to see what he puts forward going forward, you know, see, because they're going to give him next someone that's a really good grappler or like some sort of Eastern European guy that is a wrestling background, probably similar to Fabinski, but is more
better.
Yeah, because I think Fabinski was actually wrestling. They'll probably give him someone that's more like Khabib style, right? That is sambo, that is like more of like a catch wrestling kind of a guy.
That would be very interesting to watch. And yeah, I mean, it's always, you know, hard to predict these things, but I don't know. Certain times we watch a guy and I'm just like, oh yeah, that guy's getting on the rocket ship. Like, so I didn't get those vibes, but it's just those jiu-jitsu guys are just hard to predict because,
dude,
you know, it's never out.
You want to talk about rocket ship? The next fight with Michel Pereira and Zelim Imadaev. Yeah, Michel Pereira, if for anyone that's watching that hasn't seen him fight, you should probably pause us and go watch his highlights. He is insanely cool to watch.
I've never, like, hated a guy and loved a guy at the same time. Like,
I love him so much. I'm past the hate. I'm past the hate.
I'll be real. Like, I mean, it's all superficial. Like, just the goddamn it, the man bun.
Bro, him open hand slapping the man in the middle of a fight after looking at his hand and asking him, "You want the slap?" and then slapping him was great.
It was great. I see. That's not part of what I didn't like. I didn't necessarily like the hands behind the back whenever he, like, wasn't really winning that definitively yet. I mean, he obviously knew something I didn't, but
yeah, true.
But, like, I don't know. And Cormier didn't like it either. He called it out on the broadcast. But yeah, so he was just, like, showboating the whole time, like. He was just, like, trying to land, like, jumping off the cage shit, which...
That's what he does. That's his literal fight style.
I don't know. I feel like I've reached that, like, grouchy old man level of MMA.
Oh, no.
Where, like, the like, you know, when you first start, you live for those moments. And then now I've just, like, gotten to the point I'm like, I'd rather see him pull guard.
Oh, my God.
Not really.
Oh, my God. He's Bryce Mitchell. He's Bryce Mitchell.
There's this, like, I don't know. He's very douchey. Like, I like douchey.
Super douchey.
He's like the biggest douchebag, but it works. Yeah. Like, it's what he's selling.
And he's so good.
He's so good. Yeah. All right. So yeah, let's get off the jerk off session real quick and get into this little actual numbers real quick. So
yeah. All right. Give me some scoring.
Versus Zelim Imadaev and it was pretty much an even, right? Because I think I had
minus 120 to plus 100. Plus 100 minus 120 even, is
right.
Yeah, it's damn near even. Even is minus 115 and plus 105. Those are considered even odds essentially.
Okay, word. So yeah, I mean, definition of a toss up. I'll be real, because I was fooled by the Russian neckbeard. As
Yeah.
soon as he walked into the ring, I was like, bet, I know how this is going down. I was like, fuck Muscle McGee over here. I'm taking the Russian neck beard all day, homie.
Well, dude, he's a Chechen. He's like
Yeah.
he's a boxer who's like a champion boxer.
That's why he lost. He's not
Because you need him to be a Chechen wrestler.
Yeah. I should have paid better attention. I shouldn't have had my faith in the Chechen boxing. It's like, no, if you want to go wrestle a bear, goddammit, I don't know.
Yeah, if you're not with Khabib's camp, then get out.
I was fooled, man. He had like the it's like a Khabib Halloween costume he had on.
They're 170. They're welterweights. We should note.
Yeah, Pereira welterweight in quotes. Goddamn 230.
Yeah, holy shit! How does he weigh that much?
I think his pec weighed 170.
Yeah, it was and they talked about that in the broadcast too, about how it's pretty unbelievable that he's able to make that weight. He's like Apollo Costa. Like there's something in the water in Brazil.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah,
you're right. That's a great way to put it. But like, I legit think that he would be like a big middleweight. Like,
yeah,
he was a bigger middleweight.
I think he's 6'2", isn't he? Is he not 6? I think he was listed at 6'2".
Because the fight before them were middleweights, and he would dwarf Muniz.
Yeah, he looks bigger than. Yeah, that's a good point. He looks bigger than Muniz. Like literally, dude. His muscle structure too is crazy. Like he was shredded.
So I was
shredded.
Like I said earlier, I was watching the fight at my uncle's house with like a room full of people that don't really watch MMA, and like part of it was cool because I was like, spreading the gospel of evangelizing, but at the same time,
yeah,
I wanted to pull my fucking hair out half of the shit that everybody was saying, Jesus fucking Christ. But I
can't imagine grappling exchanges while you're watching it and they're watching it and they're saying shit and you're just like, just like shut up.
But man, when I told everybody in the room that this guy weighed 170, like everybody's like chins hit the floor. They're like, wait, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, no, surely you're like, there's no way.
They're like, he's obviously a 220-pound man.
Or they were like, is he 5'5" or something? And I'm like, no, he's 6. I think 6'1" or 6'3" or some shit. And they're like, what the fuck? So I don't know. That was kind of fun.
God, we just keep getting on this nut riding train on Pereira.
Yeah, well, let's switch hands real quick. I'm getting tired. Fucking goddamn it! But yeah, it's like I said, I was fooled by the Russian Muslim beard.
Dude, he's a good fighter. He's honestly Pereira is no slouch at all. Pereira is a beast when he actually tries and doesn't like over showboat and get caught.
Yeah.
But
so he was so flashy, like all flash, like all steak, no potatoes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. Just, I don't know if he threw like a single jab or just leg kick. Like everything was like I think he threw like 3 different off the cage flying like maneuvers.
Punches, kicks, knees. His flying knees, he would jump to the air.
Right? Did he land all those?
Oh, dude, off the cage. Yeah, there was one time he rocked the shit out of Amadeev.
So it's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I wanted to hate that so bad.
But it worked.
It worked. And I'm just sitting there like, I'm my fucking old man. Like, and especially in the room full of people that, like, didn't watch MMA. I was like, they
that are, like, shocked.
Overemphasize my point. Like, no, this isn't how you do it.
Yeah, like, no, we don't believe in that here. We don't do that here. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, man. He's a tough guy to get behind. But, like, he lands half those techniques. Now, the thing that he does where he'll lose fights that I've seen is he'll throw wild and crazy shit for 8 minutes and then be gassed out for 6 or 7 and end up losing the fight.
One of those goddamn SpongeBob blow-up arms he got are just burning through the oxygen at like a nitrous level pace. Like he's just, he's so inflated, like legit. I mean, it works, and I mean he looked fresh. Like he didn't look like a guy that had a brutal weight cut, but it's just. His physique is just unreal. And part of the reason why we're having this stroke fest is because like the fight was so one-sided. I mean, it was. I mean, kudos to Amadeus for surviving because he ate shots, like big time shots,
big shots,
accurate shots.
I mean, he didn't technically survive. He did, but he didn't. You know what I mean? Like Pereira does win by submission.
Oh, you're right. I honestly forgot that.
But it was literally 14 minutes and 40 seconds of an ass whooping.
Yeah, and then he just hopped
a submission.
On and got the sub because he wants to pad the
and Amadev, to his credit, I don't want to call it a sub, and that's why we didn't even approach it yet because he didn't tap. Chris Tognoni stepped in and stopped it because he thought he saw him tap, but he was pulling on the hands and his hand slipped and he went back to re-grab.
I saw
so
that.
It's like he does that, and Tognoni sees the wrist action and calls it a tap.
I mean, the thing is here, and
the thing is, you got your ass whooped for 15 minutes, so it doesn't fucking matter if you tap or you didn't tap. And they're gonna stop it for 20 seconds when he's on your back and he has his arm around your neck. Like, right? It's doing it right.
And like,
and
maybe
I don't think
that should matter. Maybe it shouldn't matter. But to me, that's like all that matters. Like, he did him a favor. I have zero issue because like you should have tapped. Like we were like I don't know. Like the fight was over regardless. If you wanted to get choked for 20 more seconds, you know what I'm saying? Maybe, maybe
like
you
if
can
he
pay somebody to do that for you later.
If he was protesting the stoppage to me as a ref, I'd look at him and be like, "Did you think it mattered? Were you gonna win in these next 20, or was he just gonna ride you out on your back and you were just gonna get red in the face and look at me?"
Yeah. So you're right. Like I almost that's how crazy this fight was. That the
a wild fight,
choke submission victory was like the least important part of the whole fight. Like it's like you said, it was 14 minutes of just standing hands, ridiculous acrobatics, just flashy shit talking, hands behind the back, fucking everything you did. Oh, the open palm slaps. Like,
dude, the open palm slaps were
like,
hilarious.
It was hilarious. It was. I really don't remember seeing anything like that too much. But man, fun fight. Really fun fight to watch. Michel Perez, he's the exact opposite of how I was like, Muniz, I don't really see a rocket ship. But man,
Perez, that rocket ship.
You're right, man. Fans are gonna love him. I mean, he goddamn. I mean, just every marketable box you could check. I mean, his actual fight style, his appearance, everything about him. He has the
his credentials. He's a champion in karate, in Muay Thai, and in Jiu-Jitsu in Brazil.
Yeah, no, he's the real fucking deal, man. Like I said, I think he'd be the real deal against most middleweights. Like the fact that he fights welterweight is insane. Like I don't know. Did you see how old he was by chance?
To answer Trent's question real fast, Stipe Miocic would work Aaron Donald quickly.
Very quickly.
Quickly.
Yeah.
What was your question?
What was my question? God damn it, I'm high.
Did I see? Yeah, it was. Did I see something? But
how old is Pachea, whatever the?
I want to say he's 31.
31. So, man, like that weight cut's got to start getting tough at some point. I mean, 31's still young, but like, I'll just say like it would not shock me at all to see him at middleweight before it's all said and done for sure.
But if he goes 185, I still like his chances.
No, me too. I don't like. Like, in the words of T.I., expeditiously. But yeah, man. So, I knew paella. I keep saying paella like the food dish. What's his fucking name, bro? How do you say that shit?
It's paella. I mean, you're close.
Paella.
Yeah.
Paella, man. I knew he got performance of the night before like anybody. I didn't even have to check for that one. That was obvious for sure. But he did get one.
Dude, the next fight was cool too. Only for the one reason I liked it a lot. It's two ex-football players fighting, which is cool to see. Minifield, of course, is like arena football recently, so I don't know how good that is. OSP played for Tennessee back in 2003, so they were really good back then, at least.
Dude, so, I didn't even have to look up Minifield's credentials to know he was a football player. Like,
you just look at his tank-style body, and you're like, this dude's 6 foot, and he weighs 205. Like, of course.
Yeah. Like, I literally, like, I didn't even have to like double check that. I was like, I've seen enough football players to know that dude played football.
He was all shoulders and chest.
Yeah, exactly, man. Which is like not even that helpful for football. Like it's just a football player ego. We're just like, bench is helpful, bro. You got to share blocks.
I'll be fucking huge.
But man, definitely two former football players. You definitely got to love that. Hey man, I'll be real. I like St. Preux. Like I don't know, maybe it's just like the name recognition. I mean, he's let us down plenty of times. Don't get me wrong.
That's the thing is he just constantly lets me down. He's like the child that you just expect is like something good's happening. Too bad it's gonna end bad.
You know, you know what it is for me now. That's happened enough time where I legit didn't have any expectations. So I couldn't be
Yeah.
disappointed. Maybe
Yeah,
that's what it was.
I'm at that point with him where I don't expect
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
from him.
Me neither. Especially whenever I saw the young lion he was in the cage with.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
honestly, to your point, I was really happy to watch St. Preux in this fight because I thought he looked like a really savvy vet. Like he really was under control, had like a very clear
He
strategy
fought
that he
a
was trying to
smart,
work.
heady fight. He really did,
Yeah,
which he hasn't
yeah.
necessarily been
Never
known
does
for.
that.
Like,
He
yeah,
never does
exactly.
that.
It was cool. It was cool. Like that's what I'm saying. That part of it I really enjoyed. Just like something happened, like some light bulb went off, which is kind of if he can keep it up, that's kind of dangerous for people he fights because I mean he's always had the power and athleticism. It was just like what I'm saying. But now if his like fight IQ is and he's fighting smart. You know what I mean? That's
Oh yeah.
dangerous. But yeah, round one, St. Preux took it. Just the reach advantage was everything in this fight, pretty much for me. Like
I thought he controlled the exchanges, and also his defense was really nice in the
really
first
good.
round.
But Minifield, and we've talked about this on the podcast before. How shorter, beefier, like thicker fighters, they tend to have to do the whole in and out thing, like rush in,
Hmm.
throw a flurry, hope they land, and then get the fuck out of there. And he just didn't execute that game plan well. And I mean, credit to St. Preux. Like you said, St. Preux's defense was a large part of why that game plan wasn't executed well. But he just, I mean, he landed some decent leg kicks every once in a while, but he couldn't land much. He couldn't get in range really all night, I thought.
What do you think about this? What do you think about Minifield? Because OSP is 6'4". He's a big dude. Minifield's 6 foot even, I believe it was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's not like he's necessarily short. But what do you think about him maybe losing some muscle and going down to 185?
Yeah, duh.
That makes more sense, right?
That's the move, but you tell that to, you know what I'm saying, incline press McGee. Like,
Yeah, right. Like if a guy loves the gym, if he's a gym rat, like how do I tell him get out of the gym? Like it's bad for your fighting career.
it is. It is. Like he could not get in range, that's what happens when you're, that just the weight classes, and you hate to dictate it off height. That's like somebody saying PJ Tucker he can't play center because he's 6'5".
Well, it's just your body style, you know?
But it's just like I think guys like PJ Tucker and shit are like the exceptions, not the rule. Or like you know what I'm saying? Or like the days of like Rashad Evans 5'10", 205, or like those days are kind of like gone. Like the lankier, like just like in the NBA, you can't really be like a 6'4" guard anymore. Like you really, you can like certain
Yeah,
people
or
try,
being a
but
7 foot center isn't necessary.
yeah.
In
So
the same logic, like you don't have to be 7'1" to be the center. You know what I mean?
It's like I don't know, shit ebbs and flows in sports, and I feel like right now we're in more just like that lankier, maybe power will come back in vogue. Like everything's cyclical. Once every fighter's a beanpole, some swole motherfucker will come around and start starching people. But
Well, it's like speed and power are good when they're like eccentric, if that makes sense. When they're like special, like when you think about like Costa
yeah,
or like certain guys that have Usman's kind of speed and power, even though he chooses not to be, he really is.
yeah, and I think that's what allows him to do that boring style. Like he couldn't do that boring
Bingo.
style if that's
Tyron
all
Woodley
he
was the
had.
same thing.
If that's
He's
all
literally
he
Woodley
had.
2.0.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I'm looking forward to that Woodley Covington fight.
Me too.
I honestly think Covington's gonna work his ass.
I think Covington puts the work on Woodley,
Yeah.
which I hate.
Yeah,
I hate,
but
I want to see that fight either
I want to
way
see the
because
fight. Yeah.
yeah. Back to the OSP fight.
Back to the OSP fight. Man, in round 2, OSP, and was that early or late in the round? I think it was pretty early in the round, right?
It was like mid. It was like mid round,
mid-second round.
like 2 minutes in. Yeah.
Like we talked.
So
about
I guess kind of early.
Earlier, a Minifield being the shorter fighter, he kind of had to rush in and try to like land some shots. And man, St. Preux just landed he sidestepped and landed the perfect counter left. And like it wasn't like a big wind up power shot. It was like a accurate counter timing punch.
I mean, it was clean on the jaw too, like clean.
And this was like a legit KO. There was no finishing blow needed. Like
no. Like he literally stood over his body.
Yeah, like no finishing blows like were required, which I thought was cool on the refs' part because some refs would have been like, no, fucking land an elbow or two, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was Jason Herzog in the ring.
Let's see some hamburger meat, homie.
Well, dude, Minifield's arm was like almost behind his back still. He was so asleep.
Oh, he was
like he was out.
Yeah. And man, and like I said, it was cool to see that from St. Preux because that wasn't like a power knockout. That was like an above the neck knockout. That was like a technique knockout, like an O'Malley type knockout, like it wasn't some big wind up fucking
It's like it was like an Israel Connor, Sean O'Malley. These guys that have straight precision, precision striking.
It really looked exactly like that. Like if you would have like blurred the faces. You know what I'm saying? And played the highlight and then told me that was OSP, I would have been like, you know what I'm saying?
Like when Stipe knocked out Verdum when we were over at the apartment years ago. Like it's just like that precision striking sometimes is all you need.
Yeah, exactly. And that
especially at that weight too, because like that power is always there. Right? Like we're talking about a guy that's 185, 205, heavyweight, like all these guys we're talking about with these, except for Connor. Connor's a little lighter, but yeah, those precision strikers, man, they'll put you out if they land it clean.
And then OSP was a slight underdog in that one, plus 110, pretty much a toss up, not really. So he technically was the underdog. He won. He got performance of the night for that too, which was well deserved. Well deserved.
Yeah.
That was a clean ass knockout. That was gorgeous.
Yeah, I agree entirely.
And then,
although, I will say, like, if they're going to give performance of the night bonuses, I wouldn't have given it to Kelleher. I mean, I love that guillotine, but I feel like that guillotine was more luck than skill, whereas, like, Overeem and Sakai definitely deserved a bonus more than Kelleher.
I'll die on that hill, for real. That's bullshit to me.
Yeah, because now I'm looking at it.
I got the feeling that Overeem got the bag backstage. I really think that's what happened here.
I mean, we only had two.
I think Dana was like, dog, you're getting your bag regardless, so I'm going to give him this bag. Like, I don't know, maybe.
We only had 2 decisions, which means the other 4 finishes got awarded. So the only fight that didn't get awarded that was a finish was Overeem and Sakai, and it's the whole fucking event.
No, that's what I'm saying.
And it was a better story as far as how the finish occurs because Overeem comes out of the depths.
It was the only 5-round fight on the card.
Yeah, and it went to the 5th round. Yeah,
dude, and so that's what I'm saying.
And it's heavyweights.
That bag was predetermined. That's the only. Like
it
I'm
has
not even
to be.
gonna name it because you got it. So I'm gonna talk. I don't know. But why is Dana just like itching to toss out bags? Maybe the money's already allotted. I don't know. But I totally agree with that, bro. It's weird. It's really weird that this is the only fight of the night that didn't, or the only finish of the night that didn't bonus. That's why there had to be a duffel bag.
Dude, they used to do KO of the night, fight of the night, sub of the night, right?
Yeah, but now they switched it to just performance and fight. But then there wasn't fight on this one, so it was just 4 performance bonuses. Weird night.
Very weird. So I guess we'll go ahead and slide into the main event, which is that said on the screen Alistair was number 5, but when they introduced him, they set him at 6. So I'm not really sure where the UFC actually holds him.
You know what it is, bro? 6 is including Cormier, who's retired.
Oh, okay.
That was confusing me all night, and then I finally put 2 and 2 together.
Cool.
I saw the rankings. Yeah. So he was 6.
So Overeem's 5 technically. Then.
Technically 5. Yep. And then
which means Sakai is 8.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay. So we have number 5 versus number 8. Alistair Overeem number 5 versus Augusto Sakai number 8. Sakai only has 1 loss before this.
Yeah.
He's a hot prospect out of Brazil. Nice jiu-jitsu, super clean Muay Thai. His Muay Thai looked really nice in this fight, I will say, too.
Came all beefy, for sure.
Dude, can he lose some weight? A little? He's
like, dog, do a crunch, homie.
Right, like, what the fuck? Like, Overeem's out there with an 8-pack over his fat ass. Like, he looked thick as shit.
Yeah.
Never looked thick as shit.
Yeah,
he never is not. He said he only has 3 or 4 fights left, but, he looked thick as shit.
I thought he was going to retire, to be honest. I thought he was going to retire.
No, he said this fight, and he wants to, like, if he can put more wins together, he's going to try and make a title run one last time.
Good on him, man. He's fought good, man.
You saw Derek Lewis talking all the shit on Earth, right?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
10-7 Sakai.
That was so funny. That was really good. I love Derek Lewis. He's so fun.
But what's fucked up is Derek Lewis is like number 2. So is he going to fight the Reem? Is that Reem's jump to?
I think that makes sense for both guys because Derek Lewis knows he's not getting a title shot.
That's a good point. You got to fight someone.
Overeem's going to be a top 5, and he has some really good name recognition.
Those are legit points.
Yeah, I think that is the fight, and I mean, obviously that's what he wants, or else he wouldn't have done it. He's not a stupid person, you know what I'm saying? So and then also an interesting stat that I just wouldn't have really thought. Two interesting stats actually. Overeem highest striking accuracy in UFC history, not in the
Yeah,
heavyweight,
and
not in the
he
heavyweight in the
no
UFC.
all time. Yeah, all time, and he proved it. Why that's the point. Did you
Yeah,
notice his accuracy throughout the entirety of the fight? I didn't ever think about this. He doesn't throw a lot.
no, but it just
Doesn't
he
throw a
makes
lot.
them
Just
count.
super accurate.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
makes them
just like
count.
throws strikes he knows he will land.
No, seriously, great strategy too, because he like I mean, it conserves energy.
Right, and at heavyweight, that's a big deal.
And then he also had fought in 4 different decades. He started in '99 and made his
Yeah,
debut in Pride, I believe. And
that's right.
yeah, and then so fucking man, just like I don't even know if there's like another sports comparison, just like the
Vince
goddamn
Carter. Vince
Vince
Carter.
Carter. Oh, that's a good one. That's a real
Yeah,
good comparison. The Vince
the
Carter of
Reem and
heavyweight.
Vince Carter.
Yeah, man, for real. So I don't know. He's grown on me. I mean, you can't not like seeing what you're seeing. I mean,
Well, it's literally the exact same thing as Vince Carter in the sense that like we know this is the end.
yeah.
So I'm just like enjoying watching Overeem
And
fight.
and also like Vince Carter, he can still play.
Still
Yeah,
balls.
yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah, yeah.
still fights. Like
Like it's not
still
just
can
like surviving
still
off your rep and cashing checks. You know what I'm saying? That's not
right.
what's going on. Like you just said, he's
Right.
trying to make a run at the title, which and he's kind of doing it. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And at heavyweight, that's the spot, man. You can do it when you're old.
yeah.
You know,
No,
because
you're
power
right.
translates and experience does a lot for you as far as like when 2 strikes will be enough to win you a fight. Experience is a lot.
Oh, that's a very good point. I think I scored it pretty much. I mean, granted, it ends up not relying
Ooh,
on
how did you
scorecard.
score it? How did
Yeah.
you score it? Because
So
I'm interested to hear the first 4 rounds.
I was gonna give the first 2 to Sakai and the rest to Overeem.
Really? So
Yeah.
I went 10-9 Sakai after 1 for sure. I gave the second round to Overeem.
So even people on Twitter were disagreeing on that one. Like they would put up like disagreeing tweets, which that never happens. Like that, I feel like that never happens.
Never.
Like the Twitter people. Now I may disagree with the Twitter people, but I feel like the Twitter
But they
people
almost
may
are
put
always
up,
together.
exactly.
That's how I knew the second round was close.
Yeah, very
as
close.
fuck.
I'm not gonna like really debate you too hard on it. I just thought and I literally it was one of those that was so close that I was going to the numbers. I'm not even gonna front. Like my eye test didn't give it to Sakai. Actually, you wanna know something hilarious, bro? Round 1, my eye test betrayed me. I guess maybe I should have gone like
Gave it to Overeem?
But my eye test, I wrote down Overeem like confidently, and I literally marked it out. And when I looked at the numbers, because the numbers very heavily favored Sakai, like it wasn't that close in round 1.
Imagine if you were a judge and you couldn't access numbers.
No, I know. Yeah, no, it's hard. And that's why I'm saying I shit on them, but I also don't like envy them either. I don't know who the perfect person for the job is. I think former fighters would do a better job than either of us. So
yeah, like if DC was scoring the fights, that would probably be a better guy than anyone else.
No, exactly. And so yeah.
So 3 and 4, I think obviously Overeem.
Yeah, yeah. So and like I said, I gave Sakai like lawyer ball rounds. Like I gave it to him based on the numbers. Like I don't think it wasn't very like definitive. Like I don't think he was like beating up Overeem.
Oh no, and if anything, Overeem was like rope-a-doping the shit out of him, was just like shelling up, letting him throw a bunch of shots and wear himself out. And Sakai got tired as fuck by the 4th round.
He did, and I'll be real. I kind of had to put my foot in my mouth, and I was like describing it to all like the people in the room because like they were all like, yeah, none of those are landing though. And I was like, but in heavyweight, like that kind of doesn't matter as much. I'm like, if these guys were like featherweights, you'd be right. Like, but in heavyweights, we've seen it before that how blocked shots can still rattle. So I'll be real.
Oh, yeah.
I thought Overeem was more in trouble than he really was. Like you said, he knew what he was doing. He was letting Sakai punch himself out, which is essentially exactly how the fight played out. And it worked. But I'll be real. I kind of thought Overeem was in trouble. Not that I thought that those punches were landing clean, but just the simple fact that they're heavyweights.
And the power is always there.
The power goes through the gloves sometimes. And so I was like describing that to everybody in the room, but then I ended up like being wrong. So
wait, I mean, what's crazy is you're right. In principle, it's just like Overeem has like been fighting for so goddamn long that he's used to the power. Like he almost has taken the edge off to the point where he can kind of expect the shots and he knows his weak spots on his own face.
No, that's true.
Which is crazy.
That is true. But Overeem's ground and pound, pretty much story of the night.
It was king shit. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
cool to watch him in ground and pound.
It was so effective. Like you know what I loved, bro, that I think a lot of fighters can learn from in a lot of weight classes, not just heavyweights. Did you see how he would just not like so whenever Sakai would be on his back up kicking, like trying to not let Overeem get the ground and pound, he would just try different shit, stay at it, stay active enough so the ref wouldn't
Rep
stand
won't
him up,
won't stand him up.
and
Yeah.
just stayed at it. No fighters do that, bro. Every fighter either just like tries to do some like jump on top, and if they don't get it, or if they get up kicked once, they kind of just back up and let the ref stand them up, or they maybe try to get side control and start grappling. The Overeem was so persistent in pursuing the ground and pound. Like he wasn't pursuing the sub. He was pursuing the ground and pound just tenaciously. And I feel like not enough fighters do that. Granted, Overeem, it's easier said than done, and he makes it look so good. And he's so like, I
He's
understand
so
that.
good in the ground and pound
I
position
understand
too.
that, but I just feel like the simple tenacity, like the effort, the not letting the ref
Yeah.
stand him up, that's something that any fighter could do. Like that doesn't take a lot of
Yeah,
skill.
that's a veteran savvy kind of a thing where he knows to stay active in that position because he's like, this is an advantageous position for me no matter what.
Yeah.
Because like my weight is over him and gravity is pulling, my shots down at him and his shots away from me no matter what. So he knows to not be inactive there. He knows, which is like a great veteran move. That's what won him the fight. The takedowns where he rolled over his own back to get a trip was like
dope.
you don't really do that as far as like that's not a wrestling takedown. That's like a jiu-jitsu style takedown.
Yeah.
And Overeem's not a jiu-jitsu guy. He just knew that he was better on top because Sakai was so tired.
But the thing is, man, like I don't care if he spent time in a gi or not. He spent so much time in the octagon that it's kind of just like learn on the fly. Like to say that he doesn't know jiu-jitsu, you know what I'm saying? Like he learned on the job. Like
he can feel it. You know what I mean? Like a lot of that's just feeling after fighting 40 MMA fights and 70 kickboxing fights before that. Like dude's over 100 professional fights.
That's nuts. Man, his elbows too. Like so, like when we say ground and pound, some people think hammer fist or Lesnar style hammer fist or punches. He was really doing it with the elbow, which is so efficient. I love ground and pound elbows. Like they're gnarly.
Oh yeah.
But
they hurt, dude. When that
yeah.
fight was ending and he was just dropping bows down on the side of Sakai's head, it was like, ooh.
Yeah, no,
ooh.
It was bad. Yeah, bouncing his head off the mat too, just good douche.
And Sakai tried to protest the stoppage. Like, what are you doing? I was defending it. It's like, motherfucker, you just took 5 elbows to the side of your face. Like, what are you talking about?
Your head like a basketball.
Like blood was like starting to pour on the mat. Like, what do you mean you weren't defending shit?
No, I thought it was if anything, I thought it was a
late stoppage.
Like maybe I'm just a fucking softy California softy over here, but
shout out to Herb Dean. I will take a slightly late stoppage over a slightly early stoppage.
Facts. Very true. Which is why when some stoppage looks kind of late, you kind of got to give them the benefit of the doubt that's kind of the logic behind it.
Yeah.
But man, so I wrote down that this was going to be fight of the night. I thought like unquestionably, just like duh, fight of the night, and there was no fight of the night. So fuck me, right?
Yeah, the hill to die on. I will give you that one though, man. Like that's one where Overeem got paid. Do you think Sakai got paid?
No, and I don't think he necessarily deserved to. I mean, I
think that's where it comes from is because like you see how gassed he was at the end, man.
And the thing is,
he kind of quit in the fifth.
If you're gonna have a gut, you gotta be in shape. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it sounds counterintuitive, but you can't go into a fight with a sloppy gut and run out of gas.
Like DC can fight 5 rounds every fight, no matter what, and he looks fat as shit sometimes, but he still can go 5 no matter what.
Exactly, man. But man, short card, so that means a short Beefy boys. That wraps up episode 14. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Harrison, for your time as always, brother.
Yes, sir.
You have a great rest of your day, man, and we'll be right back at it next weekend.
Oh, for everyone that's wondering, got Joe Burrow in that draft last week. Just to book in that.